Okay, so if you manage a hospital, a school, or really any busy commercial space, you know the struggle all too well. You invest in these beautiful, vibrant wall graphics to liven the place up, and then, just a few months later, they're scuffed, peeling, and just look tired. Today, we're going to do a real deep dive into why that keeps happening and look at a technology that was literally designed to put an end to that problem.
It is such a frustrating question, isn't it? You feel like you did everything right, but your high-traffic hallways are just relentless. It seems like traditional wall coverings just can't take the heat. And you know, it's not your fault. It's a fundamental issue with the materials themselves.
And this slide, well, this is basically the battlefield. We're talking about daily, aggressive scrubbing, constant dings and impacts from gurneys, carts, and luggage, and just the simple constant wear from people touching the walls, especially around corners. For something like a traditional vinyl wrap, all of its weak points, the seams, the edges, the adhesive itself, are constantly under attack. And that's exactly why you see that peeling and bubbling that drives everyone crazy.
So, what's the alternative then? Well, it really means rethinking the entire approach. Instead of sticking a separate layer onto the wall, what if the graphic could become an actual, durable, integrated part of the wall itself? That's exactly where direct-to-wall printing enters the picture.
Let's just break this down real simple. On one side, you've got vinyl wraps. It's essentially a sheet of plastic film that's stuck to the wall with, well, glue, a pressure-sensitive adhesive. On the other side, you have direct-to-wall printing, where specialized inks are applied right onto the wall's surface. The absolute key difference here is that you're getting rid of that middle layer, the adhesive, which is so often the first point of failure.
So how in the world does this work? Well, a special printer moves right along the wall, applying these UV curable inks. And what's cool is they're instantly cured, or hardened, by LED lights on the print head, so this ink isn't just sitting on the surface, it actually mechanically keys into the wall. Think of it as locking into all the little microscopic nooks and crannies, creating this direct, incredibly strong, seamless bond. And it works on almost anything, from smooth drywall to rough concrete block.
All right, so that's the technology, but what does it actually mean for the real-world headaches in a busy facility? Let's put these two approaches head-to-head and look at the three things that really matter most to any operations team: durability, day-to-day maintenance, and of course, the disruption that installation causes.
Now, let's get into the science just a little bit, because this is where it gets really interesting. Vinyl relies on a sticky adhesive that can actually move and degrade over time. Its weak points are always going to be the seams and the edges. But direct-to-wall printing uses a cross-linked polymer ink, and its bond is mechanical, so the weak point isn't the graphic anymore, it's the wall underneath it. This completely changes the game. The failure mode shifts from peeling and bubbling to just simple scuffs that, more often than not, can just be cleaned right off.
And think about what this means for your cleaning crews. With vinyl, they're constantly having to be careful around the edges, try not to make a small peel even worse. And those seams are just magnets for dirt and grime. With a direct-to-wall print, it's totally seamless. You clean it just like you would a high-quality painted wall. That is a massive advantage in any place that needs constant sanitation.
Now let's talk about actually getting this stuff on the wall. The traditional vinyl process, it's a whole production. You have to measure, then go produce it off-site, ship it, prep the wall, and then you start that painstaking process of trying to align these huge panels, squeeging out bubbles, trimming everything just right. It takes a ton of time, and honestly, there's a lot of room for things to go wrong. And now look at the contrast. The direct-to-wall process is just radically simpler. You load the approved digital file, do a little bit of light masking to protect the surrounding areas, and the machine prints the final, fully cured graphic right there on the spot. There are no panels to line up, no bubbles to chase out, and absolutely no seams to worry about. The second it's done, the space can be turned over for use. It's that fast.
And that speed? It has a massive impact on downtime. A typical corridor can often be completely finished in under 5 hours. For a hospital, that means it's an overnight job with zero patient disruption. For a school, that's a simple weekend project. This is a huge deal for any building that has to stay operational.
Okay, so we've established it's tougher and way faster to install. But what about the million-dollar question, the cost? Well, to really understand the value here, we have to look past that initial price tag and think about the total cost of ownership over the entire life of the graphic.
See, the true value comes from a bunch of different places. You're saving money because you're not making constant service calls to fix peeling vinyl. You're saving money by minimizing operational downtime during the install. And you gain this incredible flexibility because when it's time for an update, you don't have a messy, costly demolition project on your hands. You just paint right over it, like any other wall.
And that brings us to a really important point, especially today: sustainability. When a vinyl wrap is done, you rip it off the wall and it becomes PVC and adhesive waste that's headed straight for a landfill. Plus, the removal process itself often damages the drywall, which means more labor and materials for repairs. A printed wall, on the other hand, is simply paint-over ready. Future updates just become part of a standard repaint cycle, which avoids a tremendous amount of waste.
Okay, so with all of this on the table, how do you actually make the right strategic choice for your building and its unique demands?
Here's a pretty practical checklist to help guide you. Just ask yourself these questions. How much abuse from carts and equipment does this wall really need to handle? Is it compatible with our strict cleaning rules? Do we need to cover long, continuous walls without any ugly seams? And maybe most importantly, what's our plan for the end of its life? Answering these questions is going to point you toward the solution that gives you the best long-term performance and value.
You know, this quote really just nails it. If you're thinking about your corridors in the long run, going with an adhesive-free approach is just engineered from the ground up to reduce the exact failure points that plague traditional materials. It makes life easier for your maintenance teams, and it makes the future of your facility so much simpler.
Ultimately, it all boils down to this one question. Are you looking for a temporary fix that's going to need repairs and attention in a year or two? Or are you investing in a durable, integrated solution that's actually designed to last? For any high-traffic environment, the choice you make right now is going to define your maintenance budget, your workload, and the look and feel of your building for years and years to come.